All right, just kind of wrapping up Georgia Southern, or Georgia State. It was a good win, a little out of character for us to win like that. I'm not sure we responded very good with the big lead. We got a little soft on defense and probably gave up a few more yards than we would have liked, but for the most part it wasn't very significant because we had the game pretty well in hand. Made it exciting though. We always find a way to do that. I'm not sure our players knew how to react when they got to the locker room, winning one like that. But the last 2 weeks we have had, pretty good significant margins of victory, and our team's improved and we've played better in November. And we knew that November would be a pivotal month for us going into the season, and that was good to see. I thought Tyler Jones had a really good day. Accounted for 4 touchdowns. He had nearly 300 yards passing, 267, had about 65 rushing. I think he was 26 for 32, and he had 2 drops. That's not a bad day right there. I think he has the second most touchdown passes in the conference this year, so that's a good statement for him and what we've been able to do. Rob Lowe went over 100 yards again. How many times has he been over 100, Rick? Do you know? 5th time? We almost had 2 over 100. Terrence was at 98. Wish we'd have got him a couple more yards. Didn't realize that. CJ had a big day, 11 catches to go over 100 yards. A lot of that success has to be attributed, I think, to the way the offensive line played again and the things that the big guys did up front, which was really good to see. Just kind of recapping the whole year on that offensively. Big improvement for us this year. Over 10 points a game, or right at 10 points a game. About 140 yards a game more in offense. We were pretty balanced, 239 rushing, 226 passing. We went from snapping the ball 64 times a game to 77 times a game, which, we all talked about our plan going into the season with the no huddle and the tempo and trying to get more production. And it's nice to see when a plan comes together. Right now, we snap the ball every 22 seconds on the 40-second clock, and that includes our huddle times when we, at the end of the game, tried to drain the clock. So we're still kind of investigating to see when we weren't in that what our tempo was, but I'm sure it would get closer to 20 seconds or even better maybe. Turning to defense, another good day from David Mayo. Their double reverse, that play he made on that was phenomenal. I was kind of blown away myself, and ironically, we have a little injury, and Coach Miles are out on the field together, both talking about the same play. It was kind of unusual. Craig Mager, another solid day. David Mims, 3rd interception in 3 weeks, and he gets a pick 6 out of this one. The interception against Arkansas State was phenomenal, and then he had a big one against USA the week before. Too bad he didn't take that one to the house. We could have used that one. But we got a little soft in late in the game when we had a comfortable lead, but other than that, a solid day. Big turnover right before half by Craig Mager with the interception, and in the 3 plays, offense goes down and scores. So that was impressive. The guy that got Sunbelt Player of the Week award was Will Johnson. He's 4 for 4 on field goals. We still don't know if this is of any significance record-wise, but he had 11 touchbacks in the game. Never heard of that, never seen that. And I'm not sure anybody's ever kept track of that. So we can't find out if it's a record, or at least we hadn't, right, Rick? Yeah. Yeah. Defensively, we statistically were pretty comparable to last year, which I think is a real pat on the back to Coach Thompson and the coaches, because we had a lot more rebuilding to do on that side of the ball. We were fortunate to have David and Craig and Mike Odiari to build around, and that was nice, but we were still very youthful after that, and so I didn't feel bad about our defensive performance at all for the year, and I think we have good times ahead of us. Kicking game, we were solid all year long. Not flashy, but solid, and that's really good, I think. So 2nd year in a row we're bowl eligible, which is an achievement in itself for us being in the infant stages of moving to Division I. I'm proud of the fact that this is the 8th 7-win season or more in the last 32 years, the 9th winning season in the last 32 years. And I'm proud to say of those 9, I've been a part of 3 of them. So we've gotten some good things done. The last 4 years to have 3 non-losing seasons out of those 4, and that's only happened 12 times in the last 32 years. So 5 of those I've been involved in. So I'm proud of our players, proud of what they got accomplished. This team, I've talked about it many times. The chemistry of this team is probably, I've coached a long time, and I don't know if I've had any better chemistry on a football team than this one had, in the way that the players responded to each other and the coaches, and all those kinds of things. So that's really a kudos to them. That's hard to do, and putting together a team and putting everybody on the same page is something I take a lot of pride in trying to do, and I'd like to think it's one of my strengths. But the players really deserve all the credit in this one. They just did a magnificent job really coming together. I think they'd tell you when they got here 4 years ago, or when we got here 4 years ago, there were cliques and separation on this team, and we've changed that, and I think we've changed the culture of Bobcat football. And our work's not done, but our progress is being made. I know all of you want to know about bowl games. I wish I had something to tell you today. I can say we're 7-5, and I think we deserve to be in one of the 3 Sun Belt games. If that's not going to happen, then we're working hard. Our administration's working hard to be in one of the remaining bowls as an at-large. I think our players deserve it to get to play in a bowl game for what they've done this year, and I have to give kudos to Larry and our administration for all the work they're doing to try to put us in a good position and to enhance us as much as possible. They're burning the midnight oil for all those things to happen. So we're hopeful. We'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that happens.
Coach, did you have any chance of becoming a defensive player that y'all had defending against this year as compared to last year?
About the same.
About the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was just three games where you got almost 100.
Yeah, we did. We had some of those last year too. I have the numbers in my office, Steve. I don't have them off the top of my head, but it's I think it's within 20, 25 plays. Okay. I was interested in that too, because seeing the effects of the no huddle.
Well, obviously the bowl game is what everybody's thinking about. Does your former relationship with people in Alabama, you think that helps you in any of these situations? Still got ties there, coach. It's got to help, right?
I know Jerry Silverstein well, the director of the bowl, Mike Gottfried, who probably is responsible for starting it. Murray Cabe, Frank Monterelli, a lot of those guys were on the committee when I took TCU there a long time ago. And, Mobile's been a good town to me, and Danny Sheridan's a good friend there, and a lot of other people. So I think it helps us. Might be it still gets down to business decisions for these people, I know, but I don't think that hurts.
What's the anxiety?
It's high. It's high. I'll be honest, I pray daily for these kids to have a chance to go to a bowl game. I mean, to think that there's 4 teams bowl eligible, unless Georgia Southern wins their appeal, which we won't know about that until later today. One of those teams you beat by 18 points. You'd like to think that matters for something. When you have 36,000 students and 120 or 30,000 living alumni, you've got to think we travel fairly good to our first ever bowl game in history. But it's a fumble on your part, not mine. But it'd be really disappointing I think I've had 2 tough meetings with teams in my life, and this would be the second toughest probably, to have to tell these guys that we got left out. It looks like there's going to be about 80 bowl eligible teams and about 76 spots, so it's going to be tight.
The kids deserve it, Coach. How does their play speak for what they've accomplished this year, and how much do you politic for them?
Well, I feel like I've had a phone sticking out of my ear for the last 48 hours, but you know, from the kids' standpoint, you look at our team, and you see a 7-5 team that was very nearly a 9-3 team. You give them 7 more points, or 9-3, or 9 more points. Very nearly beat a Big Ten team. Won on the road. Had the leading tackler in the nation on their football team. You know, had some guys that had great seasons. We're a pretty cool story, I think, in our youthful growth into Division I football. The dynamics of this university getting involved in that are pretty special, with the students and the support that they've given us, the attendance that we've had from students this year. And, you know, from the feedback you get from the Bobcat Nation, students, alums, and fans, you feel like you will. And, but, you know, once we get the bid, we'll go to work and try to make sure that happens, and try to make sure we can win the game then. So.
How many extra practices do you get involved with? 9 extra?
I don't know if there's an exact limit, but it's higher than that if there is, unless they've changed the rules, because I've had as many as 15, and I don't know if I want that many, really, but you know, it is beneficial to, I've always been able to, you know, practice for about an hour 20 with the older guys, and then keep the young guys out for about 30 minutes and have kind of a mini spring practice for them, and that's a huge thing to be able to do. And of course, just the chemistry and camaraderie of a team getting to go to a bowl game is pretty special as a team building project. It's about as good as you can ask for. So we're going to go ahead, and I don't know when to anticipate decisions being made or invitations being offered, and this thing won't be over with till Sunday night or Monday. So we'll probably practice at least Saturday and Sunday, if not Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Lift weights this week during the week, but we need to maintain some edge and degree of sharpness and not take too many days off. But I think a little break for our guys is pretty good, and they'll lift every day this week except yesterday, which was their normal day off. And then the coaches are out recruiting. That'll let us get them back in here to practice Saturday and Sunday, and then go back out and recruit next week. Next week is finals week for us, so I don't know, probably wouldn't do much practice until finals are over. So start looking at 2 weeks here. We may only get maybe 2 or 3 workouts in that are practice type workouts. So, you know, I still am of the belief practice helps you play better.
I'm getting older. I'm sorry, go ahead, Coach. I'm getting older, Coach, so I can't recollect your illustrious career off the top of my head, but has there been an instance where you've been on the bubble before, where you got in or didn't get in, that you can share?
Yeah, I remember in 1998, my first year at TCU. This is a long story, and I won't bore you with all of it, but you remember about 1998, we were 6-5. We won our last game. The year before I got there, we were 1-10. They were very nearly 1-11. And we played our 11th game. We had a winning season. We were pretty proud of it. We put our gear up, started the off season, and sometime late in that week, I got a sniff that the Sun Bowl was thinking about TCU. So I loaded everything up on a plane that I could get. I made the AD, the chancellor, and the head of the Chamber of Commerce go with me, and we went down and spent 2 hours on our knees wearing out our pants, begging, and that was the year that K-State lost A&M in the Big 12 championship game in St. Louis, and I remember that Saturday night being on the phone until 3 or 4 in the morning with the Sun Bowl people, and they finally said, "Coach, go to bed. We don't have anything to tell you till morning." And they called me in the morning and said we were in. I said, "That's great." And I said, "Who do we play?" And they said, "USC." And I went, They had Carson Palmer, R.J. Sauer, and Lawrence McCutcheon, and a lot of great players. So I went to the office and I told the assistants, I said, "Well, I got good news and I don't know if I want to call it bad news, but interesting news." They said, "All right, great, give us the good news." I said, "Well, we're in." So after they erupted in cheering for a while and high-fiving, they said, "Well, what's the other news?" I said, "Well, we play USC," and they all swallowed deep like we did. We went into the bowl game as 16-point underdogs, and we won the game. And probably maybe the greatest stories of my entire coaching career, and I condensed that down. There was a lot more to it, but yeah, I think we willed that one to happen, and we're trying to will this one to happen too.
Coach, I know you say you've been on the phones a lot. Your assistants at recruiting. When you're not on the phone, do you start to put together preliminary bowl practice plans, or how are you kind of dealing with this practice or this limbo period so you don't go crazy?
Well, it's impossible really to put together a practice plan. I've looked at the calendar to see what the dates are of the games that we might be involved with, and kind of in my mind made some preliminary thoughts. But as far as putting together a notebook of organization for practices and departures and planning and things like that, I've waited to do anything like that until it's necessary. But I have looked at the dates and to kind of give some thought as to what the possibilities might be, how to respond.
What about the emergence of Tyler Jones this past season? I mean, he has a good chance of maybe being first team All Sun Belt at his position, which for a second-year quarterback, would be a pretty big honor for him.
You're exactly right. And gosh, tremendous improvement from year 1 to year 2. I think, reflecting back on my decision to say you're playing last year probably helped him be better this year, which was part of my vision. And I think as a result, he's had a really good year, and he's not near as good as he's going to be. Every game I can find, even Saturday there were a couple throws that a little better touch or a little of this, and they're completions. And he knows that. But he's had a great year. I mean, he's taken good care of the football. We haven't turned it over that much. He had, managing the ball as much as he does in our offense, whether it's passing or reading down linemen or things or linebackers for what to do. A lot is on his shoulders in that regard, and he's responded very well. And he's a huge part of the reason why we got to 7 wins and we're close to 9. You have to really. I hadn't given that a lot of thought until I was talking to Coach Miles before the game, and he started talking about, "Hey, your quarterback is my choice for all-conference quarterback." I was like, "Wow, really?" Hadn't even thought about that really. So that was cool. And after the game, I gave more thought to that. And when you start looking around at the league, and I'm sure a lot of people can make arguments for some other people, but he's going to match up or stack up pretty well with anybody in the conference this year.
If you had a vote, would you put him as number 1 quarterback?
I have a vote, and they won't let me vote for mine, but I'd vote for him.
And regardless of what happens, Coach, I'm sure it won't affect who you guys schedule and play, because you'll take on anybody and everyone, Coach, and continue to recruit the top players that come to Texas State, right?
Well said. You want to come up here and say it on the mic for me? You guys answer your own questions for me. I don't have to do much. I think we would be excited to have an opportunity to play somebody from another conference, and whoever it may be, see how we match up, and where is immaterial, just so it's there, wherever that is, and I would like to see our players try to match up with some of these other leagues, and just kind of get a taste for it could be a MAC team, and that'd be I think an interesting conference to play another game with, to compare and contrast styles of play and things like that. So we just want to go play and have another shot wherever it is. Anybody, anytime, anywhere. And then what you said?
You said the team on multiple occasions could have been 9-3 this year. Of the 5 losses, which is the game that you wish you could beat at 5?
If I could just pick one?
Yeah, just pick one.
Whew. Well, probably South Alabama would make the biggest difference in the way things stand right now. But Georgia Southern has to be right there too. I mean, it's hard to, I guess to be totally candid and honest, we're just a little bit away from 9-3, and we're probably just a little bit away from 3-9 too. But to our credit, we found ways to make plays, and those are the two that come to mind the most. The Illinois game would have been a huge win for us and our program, and a statement really to beat a Big Ten school. But probably those others would be more significant.